oh my God, this is just like the most painful thing ever. This is one of the hardest things to figure out. But why have they suddenly just stopped? Like, what the hell is going on? You're probably thinking that you're not good enough. You're probably thinking that somehow this is your fault, but it's not. It's not your fault. I'm gonna explain all of this in the video. Hello everyone and welcome back. I hope that you're all doing really well. So today's video is one of the more complex subjects that I talk about on this channel, and it's one of those topics that I think a lot of you are struggling with or trying to find out answers why this is happening, and it's more of those taboo kind of topics that nobody likes talking about. But what has become apparent is through the lives that I've been doing every Tuesday. If you guys haven't joined or don't know that I do that, I go live every Tuesday, so come over and you can ask me questions. But this topic about why the narcissist suddenly just stops having sex with you and they stop being intimate with you, I know for a lot of you has been a really difficult one to grasp, and I'm not surprised. I'm really not surprised, because it's one of those that requires explanation. So I'll be talking about this in the video. So, I mean, let's just give this a bit of context, right? So you're in this relationship with the narcissist and everything is going well, as it always does right at the beginning. And then suddenly you notice that intimacy is less frequent. It's not the same as it was. It becomes a little bit, I don't know, like jaded, or maybe it doesn't feel the same way as it did before. Now, there's a few reasons why this happens. So the first thing that I do want to say is that it's not your fault. It's not that you're doing anything wrong. It's the way that the narcissist perceives sex or intimacy. Now, if you think about it, I know I talk about this quite a lot on the channel. This is all about connection. This is all about attachment. So if you have an attachment disorder, this means that you can't attach onto someone in a healthy way, but you also can't detach from them in a healthy way. So if you really think about it, okay, so intimacy or sex with somebody is about bonding, is about attachment, all right? So if you can't attach onto someone in a healthy way, how are you going to be able to intimate with someone when you can't connect to yourself, you can't connect to someone else, and then there's intimacy? Now, both me and you know that when you are intimate with someone, you are deepening that bond. You are deepening that relationship. You are discovering each other through a whole nother medium, right? So this is how we see it. Narcissists don't see it like that. There's a few reasons for that. The first of all is the non-connection, all right? And so it becomes a very mechanical process, which is why you're feeling like, oh my God, what's going on? Why does this feel weird? Why is it only about them? There could be that element to it. I'm not saying that this happens in every single case, but this could be like basically one element of it. So that's why it becomes very much centered and focused about them. The other reason why is that it becomes more of a control tool, in that they use the pleasure, sexual desire as a way of controlling you. So they will initiate it when they want to, when they feel that it's right for you or for both of you to have it at that time. It usually could be after an argument. It usually could be for you to conform in some way. It usually is kind of to do maybe with making up between the two of you. It could be to do with punishment. Yes, it could be to do with punishment. So there's a whole range of reasons why. But if you think about it, intimacy is on an emotional and also on a psychological level. So if there is non-connection, then this is going to transpire into the intimacy part of your relationship. Now, this bit is going to be more of the darker side of why it happens. Okay, bear with me and listen to this with an open mind. The reason why this happens, okay, for some narcissists, not all of them, probably most of them, is because of the way that they had learned to attach to people, or the way that they had learned to attach in their childhood. So in some cases, okay, so say for example, it is a mother and son or a daughter-father situation here. If you think about it, this is how we learn how to attach onto adults. So our caregivers, our parents show us this attachment. We also feel it as well. So if we look at it in that way, going one step further, this is how we learn how to love. This is how we learn how to bond with other people. Now, if that is maladaptive and it's dysfunctional, say for example, boundaries are crossed, intimacy, emotionally, you don't bond to that person in the correct way. So for example, it could be that the son develops sexual feelings towards their mother because they have been over emotional. Perhaps maybe they have used their child as a form of therapy, using them as someone that they can kind of explore feelings, talk about their feelings. That child knows too much about the parent. It could be where there has been inappropriate touch, so the child then doesn't understand their place within that dynamic. So this is where it happens. So this is where the child may develop sexual feelings towards their parent or their caregiver. Now, the child knows that it's wrong, that this is not right, yet what they do is they still can't stop themselves from having those feelings. Remember, this is when it is developing. This is when they're trying to understand themselves and find their place in the world. So if these boundaries are crossed, it causes this tension and this polarization. And what I mean by that is the child knows that they can't have sexual desires or sexual feelings towards their parent or their caregiver because they know it's wrong, but they can't stop themselves from having that. Whereas the parent still is inappropriate, so they're encouraging that. That child then goes on to understand that love is forbidden. So the polarization happens in this way. So the child knows that they can't have their parent. So what they do is they put them on a pedestal and they worship them. So where love or unconditional love has become maladaptive. The other part of it is that they reject that side of them. They reject those loving feelings about themselves, and they try not to, they don't want to love because it's too painful. They don't understand the communication, the signals, the understanding of the behaviors. The way that it's supposed to be is all wrong. So they reject that part of them. This is the polarization. So if you think about it, the narcissist may become over-sexualized, all right? They'll have lots of sexual partners. They will desire them, they'll lust after them, but they will never respect them. So they serve a purpose for the narcissist. Also, the other part of it is that they will worship you, put you on a pedestal, but they will not have sex with you. So this doesn't make for a good relationship. And for a lot of us, we become very confused, not understanding what is going on. So this is where the attachment is severed. It's not right. This is where it becomes maladaptive. And this is why this leaves you scratching your head thinking, just what the hell is going on? Now, listen, this is what I mean. Like, you have to look at this in an open mind, because this is abuse. This is emotional and psychological abuse that the parent has initiated onto their child. The child, meaning the narcissistic child, doesn't understand about connection, about love, how they're supposed to be in relationships. This is why this kind of scenario happens. This is why the narcissist possibly has a lot of sexual partners. You know, even though they're in a relationship with you, they will have others on the side because they are lusting this person, they are desiring this person. Look, they're human beings as well, and they have needs, sure, which is why they have these people there, because they serve that purpose. They will never have a relationship with those people but they serve a purpose on some level, which is why they keep in contact with them. With you, you are worshipped, you are put on a pedestal, you serve a different purpose. So this is where the polarization is playing out in adulthood. This is never corrected, this is never talked about because it's a very taboo subject. The narcissist doesn't really understand that this is what is going on for them, this is what is happening. Yet they are separated from themselves. Remember, they've rejected the notion of love and connection because it was too painful for them to love and connect in childhood. So this is why this happens, that you might find that the narcissist is quite bonded inappropriately to one or two of their parents, where it becomes really quite problematic. And you might find that in these relationships you become triangulated with other family members. And so this can never really be understood by the narcissist. Even though maybe you have learned this information, you want to explain it to them, they're not going to recognize, they're not going to know that there's something wrong. They, in their mind, think this is normal, and it's not something that they see. Imagine trying to explain this to someone. I mean, I could not get my head around it to understand it, but when I realized that this is an attachment disorder, it's all to do with attachment. There is this maladaptive way of attaching to other people. Now think about the way that they have attached onto you. Do you remember in my videos I talk about how the narcissist wants this unconditional love from their parents, so they will do anything and everything to get that. Any child would, not just the narcissist child, that any child wants that unconditional love and validation from their parents. So if you're willing to do anything and everything to get that, this comes part of the deal. Unfortunately, this comes part of the deal. So the narcissist is not able to understand themselves. This is why they don't have an identity. This is why they don't have a healthy sense of self, because if you've had that type of trauma, if you've had that type of experience in childhood, how are you going to be able to explain this to someone? How are you ever able to going to understand it in that way? Because all you've wanted to do is have your parents love you. All you've wanted to do is have the acceptance. And so this is why the programming and the conditioning has become really problematic. And so the narcissist doesn't understand it in any other way. Really, that's what's going on. It's not because there's something wrong with you, because you are doing anything wrong. It is all to do with the way that the narcissist views relationships and sexual partners. It's about purpose and what they serve. And remember, they don't connect, which is why they see people as transactional. They objectify people. There is no connection. There never will be, and there cannot be, because of this maladaptive experience through childhood. I hope that this makes sense. I hope that it is something that you can try and see this with an open mind and understand it in a different way. If you are someone that is going through this and would like to explore this more, please know that I do offer one-to-one consultations. And also I do have a mentorship program which has just started. If you want more information, please see the description box below. And also I do have the journal club. Please see the description box below. And I've also started a new Discord channel, which I will be going live there as well. Please see the description box for the details of that. Right. I hope this helps. I really do. Thank you so much for watching the video, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.